right, everybody. We're gonna go ahead and watch a quick brain pop over the Civil War. So again, this week we are doing. So last week we did. The last 2 weeks. I'm sorry. Last 2 weeks we were talking about the causes of the Civil War. So just kind of like the things that led up to it. This week we're talking about the actual events of the Civil War, which is very, very quick. And then we should be done with this by, if not tomorrow, definitely by Monday. And then starting on next Tuesday, we're going to be talking about the events that happened after the Civil War. And we'll talk about that for about another week, 2 weeks. So if you guys look at the calendar, if I would put up the calendar on you guys, today is the 21st. Next week is January 25th through January 29th. So that whole week, we'll be talking about pretty much the effects afterwards. And then the following week after that is February the 1st through February the 5th. We'll finish up with that stuff. And then you'll have a unit test on that February the 8th. I don't know if you guys know, February the 8th, we're supposed to be off that week, but you guys come in on that Monday and Tuesday of that week. So I know it's weird. Like I know CJ, that's what I was. So basically what happened was you guys were supposed to have that entire week off. But remember, I don't know if you guys remember back in August, we had a hurricane that was supposed to come into Houston. And so then y'all didn't have school for those 2 days in August. So those 2 days that y'all got off in August, they're taken back on February the 8th and 9th. But so initially you're supposed to have that whole week off. So you'll come in on Monday, Tuesday. We'll have a test those 2 days, Monday, Tuesday, and then you'll have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off. Okay. So I'm just, again, I know it's like 2 or 3 weeks out, but I'm just letting you guys know kind of the direction that we're going. I don't know if you guys remember at the beginning when you guys came back, I said we were going to be doing the Civil War for the whole month, the levels for the whole month. That's kind of what I meant by that. Like, so by the time we're in January, we'll have all of our levels done, all of our Civil War done, type of thing. All right. All right, cool. Cool beans, cool beans, cool beans. Here we go.
Check. Huh?
Can y'all hear me?
Hey. Dear Tim and Moby, what happened during the Civil War? From Jen. Well, it all started in 1860 and 1861 when 11 southern states seceded. That means they left the United States to make their own country. They called themselves the Confederate States of America, or the Confederacy. The states that stayed with the U.S. were the Union. Abraham Lincoln was president of the United States at the time, and Jefferson Davis became president of the Confederacy.
Oh, my bad.
Lincoln couldn't allow 11 states to leave the Union because he thought it would set a bad example for the future.
My bad.
Anytime a state didn't like the...
Oh, my bad. You'll need this information, by the way, so let me go back.
It would set a bad example for the future. Anytime a state didn't like the rules, they would just leave. Well, the secession was like the trigger for the Civil War. The long-term cause was the disagreement between northern and southern states over slavery. There were some other factors as well. You can learn more in our Civil War Causes movie. Anyway, the actual fighting between the Union and Confederacy started in April of 1861. Confederate soldiers fired on Fort Sumter, a U.S. Army outpost in South Carolina. South Carolina was a Confederate state, and they wanted Fort Sumter for their own military use. But when South Carolina attacked the fort, they were attacking American soldiers. President Lincoln declared the South in rebellion, and the Civil War began. Every state had to decide which side to join. Border states like Kentucky and Delaware were pro-slavery but anti-secession. In fact, West Virginia was formed from the parts of Virginia that refused to secede with the rest of the state. In the end, 24 states stayed with the Union. The Union was ready to fight. People lined up around the block to join the army. Everyone in the North thought the war would be fast and easy. After all, it was 24 states versus 11. Lincoln himself expected it to last only 90 days. The first major battles of the Civil War actually drew spectators. People would have picnics on the hills overlooking the fighting. The North lost a lot of major battles in the beginning. Robert E. Lee, the commander of all the Confederate armies, was an effective strategist and engineer, and his experience earned him some early victories. One of the biggest early victories for the South was the First Battle of Bull Run, sometimes called the First Battle of Manassas. The Union came up with its answer to Robert E. Lee. Ulysses S. Grant was a talented general for the Union Army who would eventually become its commanding officer. He helped the North turn the tide toward victory, but casualties were extremely high. The Battle of Shiloh in April 1862 ended with 24,000 casualties on both sides, including around 3,400 dead. In 1863, in the middle of the war, Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing all slaves held in Confederate-controlled states. Well, slavery was pretty much over in the northern states, but a few of the border states like Maryland still held slaves. In fact, the Union Army had formed units of all African American soldiers by then. Slavery was officially outlawed in all states in 1865 after the Civil War ended. The Battle of Gettysburg in the summer of 1863 was the turning point of the war. Gettysburg ended with a staggering 51,000 casualties, with about 6,700 people dead. President Lincoln visited the battlefield when it was all over and delivered his famous Gettysburg Address. In just a handful of sentences, Lincoln captured the nation's grief and its determination to endure. In November of 1864, Union General William Tecumseh Sherman made a famous march across Confederate Georgia from Atlanta to Savannah. In Sherman's march to the sea, the Union troops devastated the state by burning crops, killing livestock, and wrecking the local infrastructure. By 1865, the Confederacy was exhausted. It had lost a huge percentage of its young men, and its economy was destroyed. General Lee surrendered to Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox Courthouse, Virginia, on April 9, 1865. The war was over. Only 5 days later, on April 14, 1865, President Lincoln was assassinated while watching a play in Washington, D.C. His killer was a man named John Wilkes Booth, a Maryland actor who was angry about the South's defeat. So, that's the Civil War. By the time it was over, between 600,000 and 700,000 people were dead, out of a total of about 3 million combatants. It was America's bloodiest war, by a lot. Yeah. By the way, that Union General, Ulysses S. Grant, he went on to become president in 1868. Okay, you can't just take my pieces off the board. Do you even know how to play?
All right. So everybody, here's the thing. If you do want to go back and watch this, like if you need the information, let me show you kind of what we're doing with it, so that way you can kind of be aware. All right. So what we're doing is this. So this week, right, we took our quiz. We had our inauguration stuff. The word search. Just like I said, something I just threw in there for you guys. So again, this is optional. Really was supposed to just kind of go along with having like a kind of a more of a laid back viewing day, but as we know, it kind of turned out totally different than how I anticipated. But anyway, no problem. 10-point quiz. If you didn't get a chance to go in and do the second one, again, you can go in and do it a second time. And then that leads us to today's events, which is the Civil War people and events. And so you will see this diagram here. And like always, you click on it to make your own copy. And it'll bring you to this. And you'll be able to essentially go in, and it says find the persons for each below. And so as the brain pop indicated, it gave you each of these. So you need like a brief description of each one. And then it says create a timeline on paper or digital. So, I mean, it's just up to you, however you want to do it. And then you're going to put these 8 events in a timeline. Now, it also says, give me the importance for each event. What I'm going to do for you guys down here, I decided to go ahead and just add these 8 events. I'm not going to tell you which one goes with which one. You'll still have to figure out and match it. But I'm doing that because I don't want you to go to Google and add them to your timeline that's not relative to what we need to know. So as you can imagine, there's lots of different facts about these events. And for your sake, you only may need to know like one or two things or this. So below here, I'm gonna make sure that I put down the more accurate descriptions of what you need, and then you can just match it with the event above it. Okay, cool. But other than that, that's what we're doing today. But again, grades, I'm finalizing those today and tomorrow. So this is not going to be on this. This will be a grade for next week, but right now it's not. So if there's any grades that you have not done or have not completed, it would be my suggestion to do those first and then come back and do this later. If you're all caught up, you're happy with your quiz grade, you've done your north-south perspectives, and you're ready to go, then yeah, you can go ahead and move on to this. All right. So, and again, if you have any questions about any of the old stuff, I'll be more than happy to answer that as well. All right. So let me just edit this because it should have got you to a copy and it brought you to mine. So let me edit this link so it goes to your own copy. By the way, I'm showing you how to do this real quick. If y'all ever want to share your Google document, but you don't want somebody to edit yours, give them the link. So like that copy link right here, all I did was hit share, give them the link. But when you give them the link, all you have to do is add the word, copy on the end of it. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Watch. It'll do this. Let me go here. Boom. Instead of saying sharing, I delete that part out. And this part where it says edit. And I put the word copy. And when I do that, here's what happens. So now, if they were to click on this link, when they click on it, when I make it a link, it'll do this. Boom. So Google forces them to make their own copy. And then when they hit make a copy, it makes their own copy in Google. So that way they can't ever mess up your document. Okay. All right, cool. But now everybody, y'all free to work. If y'all need me, let me know. Zoom, same thing with you guys. At this point, you guys are free to go if you don't have any questions. But again, I'll be more than happy to help anybody who needs any help. Just let me know what you guys need. But other than that, you're free to go. Just get caught up that you may be missing.